Hello, everyone, and welcome to the community meeting for Project Harbor. Today is Wednesday, October the 20th. My name is Orlin. I'm the community manager for Harbor, and I'm going to facilitate that meeting. Please keep in mind that that's official CNCF meeting, so follow the code of conduct for CNCF. With that said, I think we have some topics prepared for the teams, so let's go one by one from top to bottom. So Vadim, you shared with me that you have something to share. Are you ready?
Yeah. So I would like to basically get some feedback from the community because we had some topics in mind that we would like to work on and contribute to Harbor. And I would like to get your feedback and see, where should we or where should we start first? And also, I would also, kind of like to get some quick introduction about myself and because most of you know me from the community, or the contributors know me, but not everybody. So just kind of give a quick intro, and also like the proposal what I think I can contribute. Okay, I think you should be able to see my screen.
Yep.
All right, great. So yes, hello everybody. My name is Vadim. Just quickly about me, I'm a software engineer, so I have a background in software engineering. I've been doing software engineering for 2 decades mostly. So I'm like, since in the IT industry since more than 40 years, since more than 20 years. Did software engineering, network engineering. So I did quite a lot of things. I'm focusing on salsifying all the things, and a bit more about that later. I'm focusing on Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is my go-to base layer when I do things on those applications. I'm interested in like the DevOps topics and biz DevOps topics, how to get value from the IT department into the customer's hands, and how to make this visible to customers so they can benefit into this. So this is my trying to juggle the developer side and also the biz side a bit. I'm also interested in the professionalism and professionalization of IT. So I'm part of the Socrates movement, which is like software craftsmanship, and try to help our community or our industry to be more professional. So maybe more kind of maybe not like doctors, but being seen more as engineers. I live in Switzerland, and if I'm not working, I'm try to do some snowboarding and running and swimming. So I'm trying to be more active. You can find me on Twitter and GitHub and also LinkedIn. So why Harbor and why us Harbor? So we operate, so my company is operating Harbor since 2000, not Harbor, a container registry since 2016. We do container registries for enterprises, organizations. And since 2020, we're using Harbor because we think Harbor is the best container registry on the market today. And we have this always upstream philosophy. So everything we touch and everything we do, we want to make visible upstream. So we are not kind of a forking Harbor and make stuff on it, and it's not contributing back. Our philosophy is really upstream first. So we try to upstream everything, and only things that are not relevant for the community, also all not relevant to anybody else, because it's some operational stuff we don't do upstream, but normally we do everything upstream. We do container registries for SMEs and enterprise customers. We help teams and organizations. We help software vendors, using Harbor to distribute their software as container images. We also help cloud providers, adapting container registries such as OVH, for example. They're also using Harbor as a container registry for their customers, and we help so other customers or cloud providers, tier 2 cloud providers, adapt Harbor into their infrastructure. Recent was Exascale in Europe, and we have also kind of a small tier for individuals, so everyone can try it. It's called C8N.io. It's a kind of a registry for individuals where you get a free tier and you can use this for things. So my topic for today is, or my idea for Harbor is like moving Harbor into container management solution, so more something about container management rather than just registry, because I think Harbor is in a position that is first unique. I mean, there's just one competitor to Harbor, which is K, in a sense that kind of the closest competitor to Harbor is K. And we have the classical artifact repositories, and we have Harbor, which is container management solutions, with replications, with more suitable for teams. And I think my idea would be to kind of position it more in this area and make it outstanding here. And I have a few ideas that we have been discussing with customers. And I would also like to discuss those topics with you. Especially, I would like to get your feedback, and what do you think has the most potential to become upstream, and that we can focus on these topics first, and then do the others. So I have a few topics with me today. One is it's a deeper integration with Kubernetes. So it's a more integrating Harbor with Kubernetes, so interacting it more with Kubernetes. The other one is Harbor at Edge. I know you guys are working on that as well. So there's a proposal. And we have also a few requirements, and I would like, or I would be able to push this topic forward. And then the other topic I have is like the better connectivity and interaction with other systems. So it's basically more of an eventic system that Harbor emits events that other systems can consume and react upon. For example, created new project created, but I'll more into it later. And the other topic is the contributor infrastructure. So basically helping the core team to build an infrastructure that facilitates merging pull requests or accepting pull requests or verifying pull requests, having a better infrastructure, or where those tests can be performed. So deeper integration with Kubernetes means like exchange image data with Kubernetes. I mean, there is a few topics here. So I didn't write that much, but it's basically about how we can make Harbor interact better with Kubernetes. So it's not about making Harbor dependent on Kubernetes or making Harbor, kind of, dependent on Kubernetes, but more interactive with Kubernetes. So what I'm thinking about, there's already an open source project in the community, and it's basically exchanging the keys and secrets between Kubernetes on one hand and also Harbor, so that each project that's created on Harbor gets automatically a namespace in Kubernetes, and then the pool secrets are automatically injected into the namespace. Things like this. This is already a community project, and I think there is no need to do this further. But other ideas that would make sense is basically kind of I'm integrating with more user management system, for example, or the vulnerability scanner. We have already in Harbor the option that if there is an image vulnerable, you cannot download it. And this might be could be improved a bit further. So my roughly idea is like having a more deeper integration with Kubernetes. I have a few ideas. Sorry, I don't have my notebook today because I made it over the last weeks. I made a few notes what can be integrated, but I can give you the general theme, and I would outline this in the community proposal. So my goal is to write a community proposal on the, I would say, top priority topic here. The other area of where I could contribute to help is the Harbor at Edge. And there is two options. I mean, in the community, there was already discussions called Harbor satellite concept. And here we have two options. One is called Harbor at Edge. So we have a small, tiny Harbor instance running on Kubernetes cluster on Edge or in different environments that are maybe not connected that are connected to the main Harbor instance. So there will be one main Harbor instance and multiple edge devices, satellites that are connected to the main instance, and there would image replication happen to those various instances, but you would only centrally manage it. And the other concept is basically have a global Harbor where you have a master-to-master application. So we have a Harbor instance, for example, in the US and one in Asia, and those instances would replicate the images, but also the user and project and things like this. So there are two aspects here, and we need to find a way which we think is the best for the product. And I would like to outline a few things here and see where to move forward, and I would create a proposal for that. The third topic is the connectivity and interaction with other systems. So roughly the idea is to place Harbor into the CD continuous delivery pipeline more, and make it a central role there. And the idea is how to accomplish this is when Harbor would emit events regarding the state changes. So we have already some webhooks, and they're mostly, I would say, designed in a way to for Slack notifications, things like this. So it's kind of has this touch of it, but like if new images pushed or new vulnerabilities discovered for existing image. So if we do continuous rescan, we could emit events, but there are also events that could be emitted for new users, new projects that are created, or even for images that get pulled or pushed. So those events will allow to integrate Harbor better into the CD pipeline, and these integrations will make it possible to develop more flexible deployment pipelines for users. So this is something that I see could be a potential solution for Harbor as well, or potential option that could be implemented for Harbor. And the last point is contributor infrastructure. So it's basically having some sort of an infrastructure that will help the core team at Harbor to react and validate PRs faster. So there are quite a few PRs that are still open, and I see there's a problem maybe in validating those PRs and getting focus on them, because there's so much going on. And I could help and build an infrastructure. So we have the know-how, we have the people to do this. And for example, one option would be to create a new Harbor instance every time there is a PR, so that you can just log in and verify the PR and create a test instance. Or for example, the user that created the PR is capable of setting up a test case that can be validated easily. And there is also this option from Microsoft, which is called open source and Microsoft Azure credits. So Microsoft would basically donate credits, Azure credits, to open source projects, and we could use those credits to create an infrastructure. So this would be basically free of charge, at least for the infrastructure cost. So this is kind of the areas that I would like to focus on and help contribute. And for me, the important part is, what do you think is the most valuable part for the community and for Harbor that we should tackle first? So just use the chat and give it a number. What do you think would be the best option to start working? Because we cannot do everything at once. It's always like this. We need to prioritize and start with one thing and then move on to the next one. So what would you think? Oh, sorry. What would you think would be the best option to create a community proposal? So just give 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat, and then we'll see how much votes we do have. Okay, so we have just 2 votes. Any other votes?
Everyone awake? Hello? Maybe it's late for some folks on the call, but and Vadim, question from my side: how much of that you can formalize in PR or issue, so we can drive discussion in GitHub?
So the next step would be, after we voted here, I will create a community proposal, and I will create a community draft proposal where I would start with the most voted topic. I think, for example, currently it's Harbor at Edge. So I would create a proposal for Harbor at Edge, and then I will write down my thinking, how this might look like, and also open the proposal if it should be Harbor Global or Harbor at Edge satellite concept, and see what are the votes on those topics and what are the feedbacks, and then outline this. And if we have the agreement on the proposal, we will then maybe start with integrating.
Because Alex is having something about that in the roadmap, and also
Yes.
I know he has some proposal already done. I'm not sure if it's uploaded or not. And
I didn't see it.
Yeah, because that was the prerequisite to start actual working group for Edge, so we can facilitate the effort towards Edge. So I'll take a note and then speak with him if he can drive this one from project management point of view and somehow combine the two, or you can contribute with your ideas. Everyone can contribute with their ideas to the initial proposal that Alex worked on.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So this is the point. Yeah. So if there is already something, I will definitely contribute. I will not kind of don't want to start from scratch. So if there is something, it will be good. If not, we can start the discussion and start the contribution.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is like a bit about what I think I could contribute to the project. I would like, of course, be more involved in the community. I think you saw me already. A few of you saw me already on the Slack channel, where I try to help people with Harbor and installing and adapting Harbor. And I could also write some documentation on Harbor, on the project Harbor, or create some content or blog posts on how to use Harbor, because we have also some topics in there, and I could also share this with the community and also share those this topic on the Harbor blog, for example. We have also a few content, for example, especially how to integrate Harbor with Kubernetes, and how to do those topics that could help, and also writing documentation or improving the documentation. And we have a lot of documentation regarding integrating of Harbor with OpenID Connect providers like Google, Azure, Auth0, what else? So we have also this quite a few of this topic, and we could help and move them to Harbor. Yeah, so that's it from my side. I have no other topics.
About the documentation part, we're about to kick off Docs working group when Abby's back, as he's officially driving this one. So that can be part of that effort combined. And one of your points on your slides were you to become part of the maintainers team. And actually, that's the topic that would be, actually, that's the topic that I wanted to discuss with the folks on the call. I would like to nominate Vadim for maintainer, and I'm gonna open the PR via the community repository. So all the maintainers, I would like to ask them kindly to vote on this one. The Vadim's work and his engagement and commitment to the community. So please, when the PR is up, please vote. Alrighty, thank you, Vadim. And next on my list is you. Okay, that list is constantly changing, so I'll try to keep that. Santhosh, sorry if I'm mispronouncing names. I'm sorry for that.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
Okay.
Actually, for the first attempt, it's awesome. It's Santhosh, yeah. I can go next if it's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So thanks, Vadim. Unlike Vadim, I have no slides. I'm just going to do a straight out demonstration. First, let me introduce myself. I am Santhosh Srinivasan. I'm based out of the Bay Area. It's 6:20 in the morning here for me. So when you were talking about 3:30 a.m., I was thinking, okay, my day starts at 5 a.m. So just a little bit of background. I'm the co-founder and head of engineering of Peritus.AI. We are a community intelligence platform focused on developer success. So we just want to make sure friction reduces in the community. We are already working with CNCF's Argo project. And we are already in touch with, we had a talk with Chris, the CTO of CNCF. And the work we are doing with Argo, we want to bring it to the rest of CNCF free of cost to all the open source community. So it's no charge, nothing, you can use it forever. Today, I'm going to be demonstrating the product as it is installed in CNCF, and you can ask me questions as we go along, right? Put it on chat or directly ask me, works whatever way. Just a little bit of background about myself. I've been in open source for a long time. As one of the early engineers on Apache Hadoop ecosystem, I'm a maintainer / committer on Apache Pig, part of the project management committee. It's a parallel universe to CNCF. I'm fairly new to CNCF, about a year and a half in. I'm on the end user group mostly, not on the maintainer stuff. But I've been working with and using open source for a long time. That's just a brief background. So if I can share, I can just do a quick demo so that you can see what I have to offer here. All right. So this will be a live demo. So I'll walk you through quickly what I've done as work. So what you're looking at is my Slack desktop client on my Mac. This is a CNCF workspace. And we have an assistant. It's called Peritus Assistant for Slack. So if you're already engaging with the community, what it essentially means is you're trying to find an answer to a question. Typically, you use Google, which is pretty much the entire world. And Google is the best search engine out there, right? No doubt. There are alternatives. I was part of Yahoo in the search marketing group. So we had a great fight. Yahoo no longer exists, unfortunately. But what happens with Google is awesome search engine. But the way you approach search there is based on keywords. So you usually try about 2 to 5 keywords, and you try to tweak it to get to an answer. And Google has a cap on 32 keywords. So you can't ask long form questions on Google. And if you look for technical questions, for forum-oriented answers, it either takes you to Stack Overflow or the equivalent Q&A platform. For example, on Kubernetes, it could be the Discourse or Discuss community on Kubernetes. It has no insight into all the community activity happening on Slack, right? Google has no insight because it's not available publicly. So if you're here, you already have gone past Google. So that's the top level thing. You're looking for help with answers and also maybe help with some expertise from the community. Our assistant for Slack is installed. It's enabled for the Argo projects. It can be invoked 2 ways. If it is enabled on a channel, just like how you direct message somebody on a channel, but doing that, you can do that. Or you can do direct message. What I'm going to demonstrate today is a direct message with the bot, because I don't want to pollute the channel conversations. I'll pick some live questions to show how it works. First, I'll walk you through how it is. Then I'll do a quick one because it takes less than a few seconds. So long form questions, right? You're all used to it. There'll be a text, some config code, some more text, so on and so forth. And then you have a threaded response for people who try to chime in. And that's when those questions come in, what we do is we try to extract the most relevant content from it and bring answers to this question from trusted public sources. And these sources could be GitHub issues, product documentation, prior Slack conversations, Stack Overflow of the community's activity is centered on that, or your own Discourse, Lithium-based community forums. We bring all of that in one place. In addition, we also bring the list of people who are most knowledgeable about the topic being discussed in the question based on all prior interactions. So for example, in this question, I think I picked this up from one of the Helm channels or something. When the question comes in, you can see there is an answer coming, a recommendation coming from documentation, one coming from Stack Overflow, and so on and so forth. With Slack, we try to be concise about 5. We are already constantly deploying new features to make it more usable. We also say, here are some experts that we know based on every single activity you've had for this topic in our universe. It could be on Stack Overflow, it could be on GitHub, it could be on your own Slack channels, right? So what I'll do as a quick demo to say how quickly this works is I'll just pick one of the questions here, like this came in right before the meeting. So I can take maybe this one here. I'll just pick one. So just so you can get a flavor of it. You can directly ask it in the channel, or here I'll just show you how it can work. I'm literally copy pasting the question here and saying, hey, can I create an application? You get a response almost instantaneously as a threaded response. And it'll show you, for example, here it is self-referencing the question that was asked before. If it was already on Slack, you cannot get this on Google, period. And it is going across multiple sources. For example, there is one GitHub issue here. Another one is from a documentation source. And also we show some of the folks who are most knowledgeable about the specific question in this Slack channel, because this is an Argo question coming from Slack. So this is Samuel. I don't know who Samuel is. This is all our machine learning models figuring out based on interactions. So this is how it works. Fairly simple. Install our assistant. You're good to go. We haven't enabled it for Harbor yet. So my request for the community is if there is interest, it's low cost. You don't have to do any work. We'll take you through the paces. We'll have all the content ready. And if you're comfortable, then you can enable it on your channels. All we're looking for is feedback and make the product good. It should get better over usage over time. So people should ask questions, or if they don't get a question, I'll show you quickly how it is non-intrusive. It doesn't respond unless it is spoken to. And we have a feature called Nudge, which it is about to be deployed. I'll just show you the dev version of it on my workspace. So here is the dev version where I've been asking questions before the call. And if you have asked a question, haven't received a response in a finite amount of time, 1, 2, 3, 5 hours, we just nudge them saying, hey, by the way, there are some questions here, sends it only to the original poster, no one else gets it. And they can look at the recommendation, right? So it just pops up, they can take a look. If they feel comfortable, they think it's good, they can post it for everyone else to take a look as well. So highly non-intrusive, nothing comes in the way of the regular flow. Why is this important? When we analyzed the Argo data, we found 43% of questions never got a response. They never got a response. And the 57% of questions that got a response, if you did not get a response in 1 hour, there is a 71% chance that you will never get a response. So it's highly time-based, because there are so many Slack messages that if it goes past your scroll, you're not going back to it. Right? So this is a quick demo of the Slack assistant. So what we do to complement this thing is I'll just show you the other analytical part about it. So we also do aggregate analysis of your conversations across all channels. So this is the Argo one. We call this hotspots, and Argo is organized around CD, workflow. There are 5 or 6 different things. The first level organization is based on how the community and the projects are organized. The second level organization is all machine learning based. So these are topics picked up by machine learning algorithms. And I'm going to pick the topic here. And what it shows you is who are asking questions around these topics, who is responding, and who are the experts who should be responding to move the topic along. So this lets somebody who's moderating, running the community to reduce friction. And what are these topics, right? So we also hotspot the questions. These are actual questions coming from multiple channels, Stack Overflow and Slack. We say how engaged the community is, and we also give you the friction score or the frustration score for that, right? So why is this important? Because now it helps the community figure out, hey, is there a bug that needs to be prioritized? Like I saw Vadim asking for features. Draw analogy of that for features, bugs, missing documentation, or something that is broken when a release goes out that you have to jump on it and immediately do a .1, .2 release to unblock the community. So this is completely based on the conversations happening. This is not statistical. This is actually intelligence hidden in the conversations that we are trying to surface. All right. I'll take any questions. So there are many more things that I could show, but just wanted to highlight. Last thing I'll leave you guys with is just to show you the data that we collect. For example, this is what we did with Argo. I might have Harbor data. It could be dated. Just a little patience with me. So we had to take the entire universe of conversations because not all communities started at the same time and they are not active at the same time. So this is Argo compared with CNCF with all of Kubernetes. Kubernetes dominates the conversation, right? Because that's one of the first founding members and huge following. And we look at conversations all across, Stack Overflow, GitHub issues. We are comparing head to head. And then we also look at if there is Q&A based things, how engaged the community is, how quickly you're responding to questions, so on and so forth. And we also grade the expertise of people, and we can show who are the experts across communities to highlight not only people who are in common, but also entire expertise across all of these communities. Right? So these are tools that will help you just benchmark yourself within the overall ecosystem, learn best practices. You can talk to your counterpart projects. And if you have people in common, you can then talk to them to find out what are good things that you can improve on, so on and so forth. I might have Harbor here. I'm not sure because this is a list of all projects that we had grabbed. Oh, yeah, there is Harbor here. Okay. So this is the Harbor stuff that we could pull in publicly till beginning, this is up till April then, yeah. Right. So this may make more sense to you guys because I've not spent too much time on it. Looks like Harbor activity, I don't have access to your Slack messages. It's mostly centered around GitHub and very little activity on public Q&A forums.
Question, what's required for Malasite as a community to get that integrated?
Very simple. Since if are you on the CNCF Slack workspace?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So our assistant is already installed there. I can work with you to just get it enabled on the channels where you want it enabled. And after that, we just need to prepare our data to make sure you're getting recommendations and the counterpart intelligence that you're seeing here, the top level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so little to no work at your end. It's just as simple as enabling or installing a Slack app on your workspace. That's it. Everything else we take care of it.
Yeah. Follow-up question. If we decide that the community decides that we want to integrate and use that one, yeah. Any possible issues that can bring, as you said, noise to the channel or something like that?
Yeah.
No?
Excellent question. We don't respond to a question unless somebody asks us directly. And the administrative features that I showed will, just to highlight, I'll just highlight why it is an admin feature is. If you go to home and you go to settings here. So this is called a nudge feature. So in case you want to nudge people to look at the assistant's recommendation, it can be enabled. It'll only nudge for questions which have, you can say, once in a, if no response is there in an hour or 2 hours, maximum once a day or twice a day, you want to nudge the user. That's it. And this is something you can disable. So it is highly non-intrusive. It's there to make sure people get help and not meant to be something creating noise.
Okay, great. Anyone else? Questions?
Interesting. I like it. Yeah. I have a follow-up question. So the data sources that you can connect to, is it limited, or can we also maybe connect it to the documentation of Harbor, or to the community chat in GitHub? So there is currently a community, not chat, but community forum kind of thing.
Yeah. So today, yeah, good question, Vadim. So the sources that we support today out of the box are GitHub, Stack Overflow, Slack, Discourse, which is where Kubernetes is hosted, Lithium, Salesforce. We have just looked at where are all the public communities being hosted by folks, and we have built connectors to get data from those sources. Mm-hmm. And if there is a source that we want you us to support, we are more than happy to do that.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the documentation of Harbor would be, in my opinion, an option where a lot of information is also present.
Oh, yeah, so we look at all documentation content. Once you point us to it, it goes into a recommendation engine.
So if the documentation is present as Markdown in GitHub repository, this would be also then.
Yeah, we can take that in.
Okay.
Yeah, once you let me know that you want to use it. Yeah, sorry, go on.
So, I mean, is this tool used for free?
This is free for all open source nonprofit communities. Completely free.
Okay.
Okay, in that case, Santhosh, can I ask you if you can open an issue in GitHub so people can vote and we can decide to go or not to go that direction?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I think the place would be the community, the Harbor community repo. So this is where you could place this.
If you want, ping me offline, or me or Vadim, someone from the team to, if you need help with this one.
I just had one question, so pardon my ignorance. So your title comes up as the CNCF Harbor. I just need your name. I don't have your name.
My name? Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry for that. There you go.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks for that. Anyone else with a topic, or should I go through the list and? Okay. Very shy people. Jolene. Tianan.
Yeah.
Any topics to discuss? Some issues to discuss?
Hey, Vadim. If you want to share something about the Harbor Edge, you can find Stephen Zhou. He did some investigation work on the Harbor Edge, and he has some idea about that, so you can talk with him.
I'm sorry, can I ask you to fix your mic? You sound a bit away, and at least I'm having a hard time understanding.
Okay. I just tapped his name on. He is one of the harbor maintainer, so you can check with him.
Do you know if it's somewhere documented what Stephen did?
He did, but actually he did it in internal.
Okay.
So maybe you can schedule a Zoom meeting and he can share.
Okay. Okay, I'll ping him and ask if he has something there, and if he can share it with me.
Okay.
So I don't start from scratch.
Great topic, Tianan. Can someone share about the release yesterday? Anyone from the team who released yesterday?
I just add the keyword to the release note. About 2.4, the anchor feature of this release is distributed tracing. That is the implementation is based on the open time metric, so you can set up a trace service, and then Harbor can push some information to that, so you can trace the request time response, things about that, and it's helpful for the debugging about the troubleshooting, identifying the performance bottleneck, and etc. And we also did some enhancement, like enable the rubber count to do the implementation between the Harbor instances, and also introduce the stop scan job. That means you can stop a scan job. Sometimes the scan job will take so many times, so you can have a chance to stop it. And we introduced the rate limit in the replication rules to help user to limit the network for replication. That's all the main point of about the 2.4. For the timeline of the 2.4, hopefully we can have a GA build by the end of this month. And we are doing testing and verification on the RC1 build. And so we engage users that from the community can have a try and report issues to us, and then we can have a time to fix them.
Okay, great. Do we have the documentation and everything updated with the?
Yeah, we are working on the documentation update for 2.4.
Okay. As I asked before, can we coordinate that release stuff next time, please, so we can do the proper announcements? Like the mailing list, the Twitter, and then everywhere that we normally announce releases, even RCs. Okay.
Okay, we usually do the announcement for GA build. So, Johnny, do we need to?
Yeah, I think for the announcement for the new release, usually we will do that after the after the new release is out, right? And either Alex or like Ollie or Jonas, you can help to post a blog for the new release in Slack or in T-Red, as well as in the CNCF blog, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my idea and request was to next time if we can communicate that prior the release, so we can get the blog posts and everything, tweets prepared prior the release. That just general request from my side. So.
Yeah, I think we can try that.
Yeah,
we still have time, right?
Yeah.
For 2.4 release, so we can sync up this offline. We can try this time.
Okay, right.
I maybe have a question regarding the release, and this is the new feature that was enabled. It's about the scheduling, the synchronizing the jobs or the job schedules from Redis to database. I've seen the merge request, but is it also reverse, or is it just one way?
It's reverse. You may know that we store the schedule data in the Redis.
Exactly.
The job service depends on the Redis data to schedule the job, periodic job. But we found something may corrupt in the Redis node so that the job service cannot run the periodic job, and the Redis is actually the cache of the harbor. We should not store any persistent data in the Redis. So that we did this on the when you launch Harbor, the job service will sync the schedule data from database to Redis. So when user do the migration of Harbor, they do not need to care about the Redis data. So
okay, so it is.
Yeah. So from 2.4, Redis is actually a cache in Harbor.
Oh yeah, so we can run Redis completely stateless, and it will replicate the data or copy the data from Redis to the database, and then also back from database to Redis if the Redis is empty.
It's just one way from a database to Redis. We store all the schedule in the database. So on Harbor launch, the job service will load the data from database and then call the job service API to create the schedule in the Redis.
Okay. So the Redis, because the worker, so the worker library that you're using for scheduling the jobs, it is using Redis, but so now you change it that it's not using Redis anymore, but it's using now just the database. So
yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's even better.
So that the Redis can be a stateless service.
Okay. Awesome. That's even better, yeah. Because I've looked at it and I thought it was just copying the data, so kind of like a backup, but it's basically more than that.
So user should not care about the real estate anymore.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. This was my only question regarding the release.
Anyone else? Very quiet. Can someone share how was the office hours during the KubeCon?
Yeah, I can share some information about that. Actually, last week we have 2 offshore sessions, and we have maintainer Steven Zhou, Wang Yan, and Alex on the offshore, and it's about 40 attendees joined the session and ask many questions, and especially some attendees asked the how to back up and restore Harbor, and how to set up the high availability for Harbor instance, and some attendees asked some basic questions, and I think it's really good to know how the community to use that and what is the what is the their request for Harbor in the future. Recently we have received many requests about how to back up and restore Harbor. I think maybe we will invest some efforts in this part in the future.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question. Can we get some of these questions, like big topics, and convert them to some like if someone is asking how to back up, maybe we can work on some how-to or blog post or part of the documentation. Are there any candidates from these questions to work on this one?
You ask me? Oh.
I'm asking in general. You were giving us the brief what happened. So yeah, maybe I'm asking you.
I don't think there is someone is working on this part, and actually is not only I think it is not a documentation task can achieve that. That is something we need to work on a solution, maybe leverage other tools and do some enhancement inside Harbor to support that.
But do you think it makes sense for Harbor to do backup? Because I mean, if we think about backing up, we have a Postgres database. Now Redis is out of scope because Redis is just a cache. So we have a Postgres database, and Postgres is, there's tons of solutions there. Maybe we should just, on a high level, document it, how to back up Harbor. And on the S3 level, we have, on the image storage level, we have S3, and we have maybe file system and all other object stores, and there are also solutions there for file storage. Backup is also solutions. I think it maybe just give the users a guideline how to do the backup, but I'm not sure if it would make sense to provide a solution in Harbor other than documenting it.
Yeah, we actually want to do some investigation about how to back up and restore use the Velaro in the Kubernetes. So we actually are already working on that. And you may know that the maintainer are also from VMware. So now we have some discussion about that team and review, do some integration with Velaro, Harbor with Velaro, and we'll eventually provide a solution for that. to help user in the Kubernetes to back up and restore Harbor data, like storage and database.
I can just share the end user perspective. I was on one of those office hours. I think all the maintainers patiently answered all questions that came along, which is pretty awesome. That's how I got introduced to how to attend this community meeting. And Stephen Zhao was the person I was chatting with on the CNCF Slack to get here. And other observation I have is mostly from time zone perspective. The session that I attended was at 6 p.m. Pacific, which was towards the end of the day for the conference. So it may not have been beneficial for a lot of attendees to come in. If they had a long day, they may have dropped off. Maybe that gets solved when the next KubeCon is held in Europe. So some of the other time zone issues may get resolved. But it was a really good session. They answered every question that came along the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Santhosh, to share.
Okay. Any other topics, or we can have 5 minutes back from the scheduled 1 hour? All right. No questions then, and no topics. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.